Obviously, a lot of things happened in this football game. Sort of went back and forth a lot. I thought we started fast. Thought we had good energy coming out. Big pick by Justin Lane, obviously for 6, and get up 14-0. Not sure where you go from there. You know, it's back and forth a little bit in the second quarter. They're up by 2 at the quarter. In that third quarter, there were just a lot of things going down, back and forth a little bit. Obviously, probably the biggest play in the game may be the kickoff return when we cut it back to 2. So you know, we got to look at that. Obviously, that's a big play. And all I can say is disappointing in our locker room, and you know, we need to get back at it. Go on Sunday, tomorrow, and figure it out. You know, there's no easy fix. It's not easy. I thought Lewerke did some good things in the game. He was exciting to watch, and then the game sort of caught up with him a little bit in the second quarter, probably a little bit. Whether it's quarterback reads or whether it's you know, a route being covered, going to a different person or whatever the case, you know. Made the decision after, gave him a series in the second half, and then made a decision to go back with Tyler, which was the plan if things didn't work. And I thought Tyler responded and played pretty well. But a lot of big plays. R.J. Shelton has a big game. Bottom line is our inability to stop the run, our inability to stop the pass, unless max pressure leads to this display on defense. And then obviously there were two turnovers that were overturned. So you know, that's difficult, you know, but we deal with it. And then on the offensive side of the ball, inability to run the football and protect the quarterback adequately. I thought we had some big plays down the field, and then special teams wise, you know, the big play. Had a big play by Trey Barksdale blocking the punt there at the end, but the big play on the kickoff. So I'll take some questions. We'll go from there.
Mark, since you've arrived, one of your staples has been sound technique on defense. And this year the team has struggled with tackling, but today, just to be honest, it was really bad. I know you haven't seen the film, but it was. I'm just curious for you. This is something you guys have worked on in practice. It's not something that's been ignored. We
tackle all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to sit up here and point fingers at particular people, guys. You know, I mean, got good players. Justin Jackson's a good back. Yeah, we got to tackle him. But at the end of the day, it's a team sport, and you know that involves coaches as well. And we put a lot into this. You know, they make certain people tackle. You know, whether it's your corner tackle, if you put all the backers in the box, then your backers are tackling and those type of things. So you know, without watching the film, you know, it's difficult to say who missed what. But yeah, I would agree that we got to tackle better. The big play in the game, you know, was the wheel route at the very beginning of the second half, you know. But Justin will learn, you know, that was something. That was a freshman defensive back out there playing. But I thought he's got skill, and he continued to play. So he'll get better, and he'll learn from those mistakes. And we overcame that one. We got back to within 2. Any way you cut it, you get back to it within 2. It's a new football game, and we sort of start fresh. But we could never really get that stop to get the ball back where we had the chance to go ahead. It never really got to that possession.
Coach, in each one of these last 4 games, you've scored first, you've punched first. They've punched back. You mentioned a turning point. You mentioned some of the same things each week here, and one of those things is third down conversions, not getting off the field on third down. Are there other things that are kind of recurring nightmares for you, or is it just kind of you fix one thing and then it's something else?
Well, I think one thing is we're not getting, you know, we had the 2 turnovers overturned, and I'm not saying that that's wrong, but you know, our turnovers, we went 1 for 1, and we blocked a kick, and they had a touchdown. So, I mean, you could basically say that those are 2 more big plays, but our turnover margin hasn't been what it's been. We've got to be able to win that. We lost possession time, inability to run the football on offense, which I think we've done okay, but we were unable to do that with any consistency today. Protect the quarterback on defense. You know, we got to pressure the quarterback. We got some sacks. We had a max blitz to do that some. You know, when you max blitz, you know, the quarterback retreated, just pitched it up one time. And on the 4th and 6th play, I think we're down by maybe 10. Again, you know, he pitched it up for a touchdown. So yeah, we got to get on top of him, play coverage, but it's it gets difficult out there. So, not pushing fingers at anybody. I'm just saying that we got to execute better. The reoccurring theme is, to me, is we let them back in the game. We've sort of got things squared away. You know, we're moving forward pretty good. You know, we're in the game. I mean, every one of these games, we're in the game. But we got to turn the corner and finish. And that's the bottom line. Got to find some way to finish, and whether that's a call, a play, whatever it is.
Finishing is something you guys have done very well in the past 4 or 5 years. Is this as frustrating as of a stretch as you've had here with that, in that regard?
Well, you know, I don't know. I'll have to check my whatever I got. You know, I don't know what I got, but I'll check my history facts. But yeah, it's frustrating. You know, you lose 4 straight. That's frustrating. You know, and, especially here at home. I thought our crowd was outstanding. I thought they showed, they stayed, they were into the game. And I appreciate that and thank them very, very much. But we got to get a win. So, you know, we'll go to Maryland next week, 7:30 game, and we start back tomorrow. And all I can tell you, and all I can say is that nobody gives you a hall pass and says, hey, you know, you can come out of that corner now. You know, it's okay. Come on in. You got to fight your way out of that corner. And that's what we have to do. And it's disappointing for everybody. The bar has been set very high here, rightfully so. There was only one way to go. The climb up is very, very difficult. That ride down, it's tough to take sometimes. Okay? So we need to deal with it and get on with it. Got half a season left.
Do you have a plan at this point how you want to proceed with the quarterback?
Well, I think right now, you know, it's too early for me to say anything. You know, I thought both guys obviously did some good things. Both guys obviously did some things they'd like to have back. So we'll look at it and evaluate it. But I do think that Lewerke gave us a spark initially in that first quarter. I thought he did some good things for a redshirt freshman coming in there, and he was exciting to watch. And I also think Tyler O'Connor went in there in the second half and showed his maturity as a person in handling what went down, and the reason why he was elected captain here, because I thought he came in there and did some really good things and passed for a bunch of yardage and 3 touchdowns. So we'll have to just evaluate and see where we go.
Mark, you got a lot of guys here in the last few years on NFL rosters that are being replaced by a lot of young players. Is there a chance you're too young in too many spots, or is that just an excuse in your mind?
Well, I'm not going to sit there and say that. We got enough good players here to put a good football team on the field and win. Why we haven't, you know, one reason, if you look at the Notre Dame game, we got turnovers. Put our offense in quick position to score. We had some big plays and big, you know, so you look at that game and then you start looking at the last 4 games. So I'm not ever going to say, hey, we're not good enough. We're good enough. We have to play with more consistency.
Mark, this was roughly the same question I was going to ask you. Fred just asked, but we thought this program, I think anybody observing this program thought it was probably so solidly assembled that the quote-unquote off year was not going to be anything likely here, that you wouldn't get caught in multiple areas of deficiency. And it looks as though that year has arrived. Now you got 6 games left, but does it make any sense to you that so many areas and positions seem so vulnerable? You can see it today with no rushing attack and with 54 points, same as we've seen it in some other weeks.
Yeah, that's a very well formulated question, and probably accurate, because it does seem like that. You know, it's a case of some guys being injured. It's a case of losing John Reschke possibly, and Ed Davis not being able to come back fully yet. Those type of things. It's supporting cast. It's, you know, playing some younger offensive linemen in there. So there's a whole litany of things that you can point to, especially when you look at film. When you look at film, I mean, you're going to see a guy miss a tackle, and you're going to say, if we make the tackle right there, we're off the field. You're going to see that. You're going to see the ball come in on a wide receiver, and you're going to say, hey, if he gets one hand in there, you know, it's an incomplete pass. And that's what we deal with. That's what we're dealing with on too much of a consistent nature. And that's why I always go back to say you got to find the inches, and those inches become big as you go down through every football game. But that's why you coach. You figure it out. You get everybody ready to go. And to me, from my perspective, we got 6 games to go. Hopefully, we get a little tougher every game. Hopefully, get a little more callous every football game, and that your will to win is stronger, both as a coach and as a player. And to me, that's what counts. You don't throw in and cash out. You keep playing, and that old phrase, tough times don't last, tough people do, sort of applies. And that's what we have to do.
I'm in no way intimating that you throw the season away with this question, but when you do look at losses and potential of the season, if Tyler and Brian or Brian and Damian are close, do you look to the future with Brian? Does that maybe give an edge as the season progresses, Mark, when you look at the future? Again, not intimating that you give up on this season, but if it's close, does that give him an edge?
Not really, not in my mind. My obligation is to all of our players, whether they're seniors or whether they're freshmen. There's ways to do things, and we're going to play the best player, and we're going to allow things to take shape. Certainly, that could happen at certain positions. It could happen at quarterback, but that won't be the reason. I'm not going to say, well, hey, that guy's a senior. We don't need him to play anymore. I'm not going to do that to a guy. But we'll try and play the best players. We always do, and we'll try and, to the best of our ability, put people in positions to win. But I do think that Lewerke did some good things out there. He showed some excitement. So possibility of him playing is good. I also think that Tyler O'Connor went out there and had a nice game. And again, credit him in terms of how he rallied things back and brought us back a little bit and really got us back in the game. And it's a credit to him and his personality and who he is as a person.
Coach, if there's one thing you had to pinpoint that's been giving you the most trouble in the past couple of weeks, what would it be?
Just one?
You can do multiple if you want.
That's not a good question, guys. There are too many things for me to sit there and say, this should happen, this should happen. And, we got to run the ball more effectively. Got to get off the field on third down. Got to come up with turnovers. Got to get home on a pass rush with 4 rather than blitzing. Got to play better coverage down the field. There's just a lot of things. Can't have a kickoff return against us. There's just a lot of things, and they just seem to be creeping up, as somebody else has said in here. They're just creeping up, and we've got to be able to just square it away. We just got to be able to get it squared away.
We have 2 more, Rico, and then Chris. Mark, as you said, you have 6 games left. This is uncharted territory for you and your team. Where does the motivation come from? Is it going to be the players or the coaches? And who would you rather do the motivating?
I think if you're an athlete, if you play any type of sports whatsoever, that athlete comes within you. I mean, that attitude comes from within you. Certainly as a coach, you feel that way, and as a player that goes on the field, you feel that way. And the deeper you get in a hole, like I said earlier, if you're a competitor, the more difficult it becomes to defeat you. Hey, we're going to dig deep. We got competitors in there, and if somebody's not competing, then certainly we're not going to play that guy. If a coach takes that type of attitude, then that coach is not going to coach. But we don't have that's never been an issue here. I don't expect to be an issue. And we go out there and we practice. We've had a great week of practice. We came ready to play. I felt like we came ready to play. And we'll get ourselves up again. And we're not the only team in the country that's struggling. So this goes around. I guess what comes around goes around, that type of thing, I guess, a little bit. But we'll get ourselves ready to go. I don't think that's – I would be disappointed if that was an issue. That comes from all of us.
At this point in the year and seeing where you guys are at record-wise and knowing that a bowl might be in jeopardy, do you change the methods or the messages to your team at all at this point?
Yeah, we changed this last week. It's one focus, one moment at a time. As I said earlier, every play out there has got a life of its own. You got 11 guys. Every single play has a life of its own. So you got to win in those in those moments, certainly. But you also have to win in those moments like right now. You have to win. You know, when you get back and you're sitting in the locker room as the head coach or assistant coach, or you're sitting at your home as a player, you got to be able to win. It's a mental game at some point. I'm talking about win mentally in terms of, excuse me? I'm talking about winning in terms of how you handle yourself and how you get ready to go. You know, that's part of this too. You just can't cash out. So I think we'll, like, as I said to Rico, I think we'll be fine. You know, I'd be disappointed if we weren't. That's good? Thank you.